So we're here in the kitchen of eveyr. She's a Worm Farm Why Waste Worms subscriber. We're out and about, kind of visiting the subscribers and just getting a feel for how the service is going for them. So that because what's really happening is the service is really starting to take off, and we need to know what's going on, how people are finding it, and how we can improve it and communicate that out to the rest of people that aren't yet, are still putting their biodegradable waste in the rubbish.
Terrible thing to do.
So Debbie, what brought you to pick up the Why Waste Worm service?
You know, I'm concerned obviously about things that are happening around the world and how we have become quite a wasteful society. And I learned a lot about food waste. A third of the world's global production of food is wasted, often in its production itself, and then but what we do at home. So we take, this is biomass. This is all really good stuff. It might not be something we'd eat, but worms love it. So I started to look at what I could do in my own life to add a bit more value and to live by my values. So I do worry about soil. I worry about soil more than I worry about carbon in some ways, because we're losing millions and millions of tons of good topsoil every year because of the way we farm. And we need to do something different about that. You know, there's a key concern growing globally around what we're doing to, you know, the way we grow food is really bad for the environment. But also we're losing this incredible opportunity that soil presents to sequester carbon. So I'm doing a lot in that space at the moment as part of my work. How do we shift to regenerative forms of agriculture? And that means, what can I do to regenerate myself? And, you know, it's been a really incredible journey for me because, you know, I'm not really your typical gardener. I don't really grow things. You know, I'm not confident, but I've become much more confident after having the worms. For the first time ever, I grew things, you know, because it kind of sort of made sense that I was, you know, getting rid of all this food into my worm bin, and all this cool stuff comes out of the other end of that, which is really good for the garden. So it gave me confidence to try other things that I'm not so good at. Nice. So that's good.
And what's the experience been like, kind of? How does it go in the day-to-day? You chop your veggies and you get them in this bin?
Put them in my you know, have a bin here on the countertop where I, you know, do all my food prep.
Nice.
I have my little sticker over here if I'm not sure of, is that okay for the worms? Or, you know, is that all right? But I kind of sort of know now what not to give them, and, you know, so I'm, you know, pretty confident now. But then, you know, in the I keep my newspapers and empty toilet rolls and all that, my egg cartons, keep all those, and then once every 2 or 3 weeks get the scissors out and chop them up a little bit smaller. Use some of my worms don't have to work so hard. I'm very attached to my worms, so I do that for them. Which is great. So it's other than that, it is incredibly easy. It's not burdensome. It's not something I even consider now. You know, this is just the way this kitchen runs. This is where that stuff goes.
And it's taken care of by Why Waste Worms.
And you see, that was the big value proposition for me, because I've composted before. And then when the compost gets to a certain level, I think, oh Christ, now what am I going to do with it? So I was a bit nervous about that, and it became something I worried about. And when I was at a Green Drinks, I can't remember where I heard you speak, Leo, and I thought, oh God, this is genius. $25. Somebody's gonna. So I've got a really busy life. I'm not always around. I'm not always home. It's just somebody who takes away a pain point for me, which is worrying about what happens to all the other stuff. So that's why I love it, and that's why I think more people should do it. And what even better, I used to put out like a wheelie bin every, you know, I don't know. When my kids were at home, it was definitely a wheelie bin a week. I don't even have a wheelie bin for landfill anymore. I just buy the bags that I need from, you know, the grocery store. But I would put out one of them every 6 or 8 weeks.
Wow.
Because I'm a bit, you know, I'm a good greenie to the best of my ability. I don't buy plastic stuffs that can't be recycled. So all of my recyclables go in that bin. But everything else that possibly can go to the worms. Even when I vacuum and you got all the hair and the cat fluff, that goes into the worms. So only really stuff that can't go anywhere else goes into my bin. So it's 6 to 8 weeks. I often forget to put the bin out, and I don't worry about it. In a way, I used to have to. I would turn my car around and come home. I got to get the bin out. I would never do that now, because I know, it'll be fine. This week might not be a bin week for me, because I'll go weeks and weeks and weeks without needing to put anything into landfill, and that's a really good feeling for me, because not only do I know this scraps and stuff is creating soil, and I read a really cool statistic. Every soil, all the soil that we use to grow veggies has been through the gut of a worm somewhere in the world. And I thought, this is how this stuff works. So I think part of that is connecting us to how nature worked, and that we've kind of lost that connection with, because we buy stuff from grocery stores and we forget where food comes from. So this has been a really good experience for me to see, actually, this is how the natural world generally worked. And it's been good for me to get more involved in that.
Link up.
So the reduced to landfill, I get a double benefit from that. I feel much better that is not going to landfill and contributing to methane, which, and a lot of I think it's 40% or 45% of what is in landfill is this stuff. Stuff that doesn't need to be there. So we all need to step up. I mean, sometimes you can be overwhelmed, with the size and the scale of macro level problems, global warming, it's very nebulous, and what do I do? These are the simple things we can all do. You can all do this. Transport is trickier to manage for some people, particularly if you live in an area that doesn't have great public transport, or they're working hard to improve that in Tauranga. But anyone can do this. And it's actually, to me, cost neutral at least. If not, I don't have a big landfill bin now. I pay $25 to create soil. So the worms are just a way for me to do something positive, instead of not just reducing the externalities of my rubbish, but actually this is a positive contribution I can make. What am I doing with my rubbish? I'm making soil. I'm not making carbon. I'm not contributing to the problem. I'm contributing to the solution. So bring that on, people. Go get some worms.
Contributing to the solution.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it?
Amazing.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, all good.